to Mother Mary, the precious blood, our memories of you. Happy Golden Jubilee, Mother. This is from your whole family. We're not going to do a history of your life. Most of us don't even know it, but we could start with you as a little girl. Here you are as a baby, and then move on as you get older. Here you are smoking Dad's pipe. I bet your novices didn't know you smoked a pipe when you were young. Here you are getting into trouble, getting into the tar that was on top of the radiator when Dad was fixing the roof. Or even here you are with your grandparents and where they came from. Or here you are with your grandmother and what a great cook she was. No, we're not going to make this memory about that. We've decided instead to each search our hearts and find memories we have of you that we want you to know, that we still remember and we still are grateful that we had you in our life, whether it was a long time or a short time. So, without further ado, here we go. First one who has memories of you is Matt. Granted, he was quite small when you left, but his memory is, of course, the famous frog story when we were in the back room and shelling peas. If I remember correctly, he was the one that brought the frog in. But I'll let Mother tell the story since it happened to her, and I've noticed we each have a little different memory of what went on that day. Now on to Kathy. She remembers going to Mass, and she remembers that you helped her follow her prayer book and say her prayers. She also remembers when she was little and would get up at night, you were the only one who would let her sleep with you. She remembers keeping tadpoles and how you threw them out once because you said they were smelly. She said she remembers crying and screaming for a long time after that. Kathy also remembers how when you would vacuum the house, you had to pick up all the toys and Lincoln Logs. That used to upset her too. As she tells the story, she kind of smiles and says, well, it makes sense. I mean, how could you vacuum around all those little Lincoln Logs and all those toys on the floor? Jackie's memory is of the frog story. And shelling peas in the back room. Jerry remembers the frog story as well, but he has another memory he'd like to share. That's of the time we were walking down towards the river and we were in the field, the tall grass, and we saw a snake, and you were quite afraid. Susie has shared her memories as a letter, which I will read. Dear Mother, what an honor it is to call you that. When you entered 50 years ago, it didn't cross my mind that I'd be calling you that someday. But when I look back at all the memories, you really were a leader at things, and you always had a method for doing things. So, where do I start? One thing I remember is that you were always busy doing something. You were either cleaning, doing laundry, or cooking. I remember you baking chocolate cakes and tons of cookies. Seems Mom's big Tupperware container always had some goodies in it. As for cleaning, I remember a time when you locked us out of the house and said, I'm not finished cleaning yet. As an adult, I now wonder, were you cleaning? Or maybe you were helping Mom do something like wrap presents. I also remember playing a lot of games. Monopoly, Carom, and on a lot of Sunday afternoons, the game of authors. You also had a transistor radio with earbuds that you liked to listen to. I think now it's probably the only time you had to yourself. I remember going to marching band practice in the summer just about every day, it seemed. I was amazed that even though we lived a mile from the school, I could still hear the band play. I remember when Andy died, You sent me a card or letter almost every day or two for over a year. I never knew there could be so much love. And I love you so much too. Probably my best memory is when we all came down for your 25th anniversary. You had asked for a specific vacuum cleaner. You wanted it because it had an extra long wand and a lot of accessories. I'll never forget your face and how excited you were when you opened it and saw that we had gotten it for you. I never realized how that moment must have felt like a dream come true until the vacuum cleaner that I really liked at work broke down and I had to use my coworkers. Hers was such a pain. I was never so happy as when it got fixed. So I'm glad we got it for you. I hope that all of us being here and the gifts we get for this anniversary will make you happy and excited too. I love that we get to share this time with you. Love, your little sis, Susie. Bonnie says, you were always such a good sport. We would tease you so much, but you were good about it. Remember the time we went fishing and Dad was fishing and we were walking around the banks and we saw this snake sunning itself and I said, tap it on its tail. That was exciting. You and I were always together. It wasn't just 4-H. It was band, Lions Club, even chores. When Mom started getting me to wash dishes, you cried, I want to help too. And when she let me wash the baby clothes, or even when she let me stay up an hour later when I turned 13, you always wanted to do it too. Mom would tell you, you have to wait. I don't think you were happy about that. Remember how we were in Spanish together? You actually started Spanish in the 4th grade. I didn't start Spanish till I was in 10th grade. It was hard that year. But in 11th grade, you and I ended up in the same Spanish class, which was great. We had international night that year and I wrote a play. The teacher said it was so good that you and I put it on. I was the old woman and you were the young woman. And we won 2nd place. Remember how we used to practice Spanish while we were picking apples and Dad would hear us and say, stop practicing your Spanish. You need to concentrate on picking apples. When we were in 4-H and raised the calves, I was a little scared. But you were always willing to go with me. That was such a great support. I remember going to band practice in the summer, going through the swamp, on the farm, going on trails in the woods. It was wonderful to be able to do all those things together as sisters. The only time I didn't appreciate was when you cleaned my desk up in our bedroom, my art desk with all my art things. You decided to help me. I never did find everything after that. When I started looking at religious orders, you had been looking at religious orders for a long time. When I chose Marbury, you said, I'm not going there. But after reading the letters from the sisters, you changed your mind. I entered, and later Little Mother got a letter from you, and she came to find me to tell me that you wanted to come too. You were always so enthusiastic about any plans I made. Oktoberfest, big baking projects, making bread, even washing dishes. We worked really well together because we've done it all our lives. You were such a good cleaner too, and wouldn't stop till everything was cleaned. And now for myself. I lived with you and Sister Mary of the Sacred Heart for over 40 years. 40 years of working together, 40 years of memory. I do have memories from when we were young and the mischief we got into, being in 4-H together, though I wasn't able to go with you for the fair, and I was too young to present at the fair for my sewing project. But the camping, the work in the orchard, games, all those wonderful things that we did, that was more fun to remember than I think it actually was in person. But my best memories actually come from my time with you in the monastery, because that's when I turned to an adult. I remember the time I called you for your hour of guard in the mission. As usual, I came and opened your door. You sat up in bed, my signal, she's awake. I started back down the hallway, and I heard your door click close. I thought, that's strange. So I watched your door, and I saw the light go on in the transom. I thought, that's even more strange. So I went and lightly tapped on your door, and you came with a toothbrush in hand and your toothpaste all over your mouth. And I looked at you and I said, night hour of guard? And your eyes got big and you said, oh, I thought it was the morning bell. We did work a lot together. Missed that painting one, but we painted the hall. Did so much painting. The fun part of cookouts. We used to go get the Christmas trees, and then towards the end, you and I were the ones that used to string the lights on them at the last time, and even the cemetery. You were sacristan before I was, and so I learned from you. We washed clothes, blinds, mended habits, cleaned the house without ever saying a word. Remember when you were made novice mistress? You didn't have any novices when I was there, but you grew to have several. When I left West Marbury to go to West Springfield, I realized then how much I missed you as a big sister, and I was so grateful when you came up to visit the time you were on your way to the novice mistress meeting. I didn't have anyone looking after me like that in West Springfield. It wasn't until you came that I realized, wow, you did it so regularly and so simply that I didn't even think about it. But to be honest, my best memories are from the summers I came down to work for you. You always watched out for me. You always encouraged me, whether it was sanding the floor, building a bench, hanging a door. I remember you leaving me notes. And I put food in the St. George so you would have something to eat tonight. When I got a degree in counseling, you were the one I could share what I was learning. And when you invited me down to do workshops, it really felt surreal. We've had so many conversations about trauma and healing and spiritual growth. I really appreciate that in you. And now we want to honor you by bringing in Mom and Dad, and I'll let them speak for themselves.
Play the fiddle and sing Pop, was it Pop Goes the Weasel?
Pop Goes the Weasel. Played Pop Goes the Weasel. And when he would take the grandchildren, and my brothers would come with their kids, and he would take the grandchildren on their lap, get out his fiddle, and have them all around the gobbler's been the monkey take the weasel.
Monkey side of
He'd go pleat with the fiddle, and the kids always laugh.
You guys may stay here, Mother.
Oh, we enjoyed heavy with it.
Yeah. Maybe if things work out, I'll come back this fall.
All right, that'd be nice. That sounds beautiful. So had to put in a prayer for the Lord to cool that too.
Pardon? Oh, thank you.
It's very encouraging.
I'm going to keep an eye out for it.
I'm going to be like St. Teresa. I'm going to come back and watch over you.
Remind you, Dad.
Huh?
Remind you.
You know, Dad, Mom was right here.
Oh,
We are goodbyes.
okay. Take care of my daughters now.
Sure will. Yeah. Just tell them to take care of them.
Yeah.
Our goodbyes.
Okay. Take care of my daughters now.
Sure will. Yeah. Just tell them to take care of them.
Yeah.
wish you all the best, Mother, for this wonderful, glorious Golden Jubilee. We all love you. Thank you.